I have studied the FM Metro Diversion in terms of its relationship to the Sheyenne Diversion, to get an understanding of what the potential impacts, benefits, etc. Would be. And so that's what I'm going to talk about here in the next couple slides. First of all, a little bit of information about the Sheyenne Diversion Project. It consists of two segments. The green line that you see here, this represents the portion around the West Fargo proper, if you will. The diversion channel around this portion of the city provides 500-year or greater than 500-year flood protection. It's designed to what's called the standard project flood, but essentially greater than 500-year flood protection. How the system works is there's gates on the south end of the system and on the north end of the system that isolates this portion of West Fargo from the Sheyenne River, and the flows are diverted around the city. And I have to remember that the Sheyenne Diversion, in its name, it's flood protection from the Sheyenne River, okay? That's what it's designed for. Flood protection from the Sheyenne River. The Red River is a different story. The upstream portion, commonly referred to as the Horace Diversion, we call it Project Number 2, provides protection from the Sheyenne River somewhere in the ballpark of, well, it's 100-year. And it's a little bit different system. When the project was originally constructed, there wasn't much development down in this area. The development came after. And if you've lived through recent floods, 2009, 10, and 11, like I have, and you're from this area down here, you recognize, obviously, that there is a different level of flood protection that Project 2 provides versus Project 1. For example, within the Project 2 area, there's a flow split that occurs on the upstream end. There's a structure here, and we're looking at about 4,600 CFS is what we've seen in recent floods, and that flow is split. About 2,600 CFS is sent down the Project 2 diversion corridor, and 2,000 CFS remains in the river. And then those flows merge back together again right here and go around West Fargo back to your 4,600. Now, what we've observed in 2009 and 2011, if you live out there, is the water gets very, very high in that river channel, to the point that we've seen water on top of Highway 17, and we have to do some emergency diking. There's also a perched riverbank that's in many of the people's backyards, and we run around, of course, and form river watch groups and that type of thing to bring those levees back up if they've been taken down for landscaping and those types of things, because the river is private property and not really part of the project. And so those are the things that we've had to deal with. 2009 was a larger issue than 2011 because we were dealing with ice jams. And so all of that created quite a bit of stress, but we had flood protection in place, and we made it through. That's the Sheyenne River flooding in a nutshell. Again, the Red River, that's a different story. This project provides protection from the Sheyenne. So how would things change with the proposed FM Metro Diversion Project in place? Well, for the Project 1 area, we would now have flood protection from the Red River with events like around a 500-year flood. The ability to fight a 500-year flood is I think what I'm hearing them say in their presentations. So 500-year protection from the Red River, and then of course we would have reduced flows in the Sheyenne Diversion. But more importantly, in the Project 2 area, the southern area, again we would have that protection from the Red River 500-year event, which we don't have today. But we would also have reduced flows in the Sheyenne Diversion, this portion of the channel right here. And we would have, more importantly, lower flows within the Sheyenne River itself. Remember, today we're seeing about 4,600 CFS enter the system and the flow splits. Preliminary design numbers that I've seen so far shows that flow being cut in half or up to a third of what we see today. And if that were to occur, of course, all the stresses with the Sheyenne River flowing very high and all the issues with the berms and things like that that we have to address during times of flooding and the ice jams, that would essentially become a thing of the past if the flows are reduced to that level. So that's what I'm seeing so far in the project as far as the relationship to the Sheyenne Diversion. The Sheyenne Diversion would still be needed, and therefore the benefit for the city of West Fargo. And that's essentially what I'm seeing with the project. Thank you.